You're being silly. You're being silly. Oh, drink out of the hose. So here is why after one of our works, and he enjoys drinking out of the hose, and he's been doing really well, just ho-humming along since our last training vlog. However, the following day we did have a incident where he jumped out of his paddock. So I'm not quite sure what kind of bee got in his bonnet. There really wasn't anything to indicate it. There were no skid marks in his paddock either, so he intended on jumping out. My working student there found him, and he was pretty lucky. There was no marks on him, so thankfully the fencing did its job and did not hurt him. He had a little bit of filling on one leg the following day, so he's a little sore. But this is the next day, and I let him just be out in the big field, so I had ended up the following day switching my horses to nighttime turnout, but I prefer having him out during the day so I can kind of keep an eye on him. And so this is a really big deal for him because he has been so hard to catch. It's been one of the things I've worked on a lot the whole time I've had him, and it's been interesting that through all of the groundwork he still wasn't quite sure until he got better and better about it after we started our under saddle training. Yeah, so I'm wearing shorts today because I tweaked my back. You're not being ridden today because you tweaked your leg. Being silly Mustang. Huh. Oh, good smile. Lord. Huh? You want to go see those boys? Think we should go? And the Chihuahua. Come on. Look at the dorks. So again, I'm going to apologize for the extreme brightness of white that you guys are witnessing. Again, I was wearing shorts today because 1, I live in Florida, and 2, I had tweaked my back so I wasn't riding, and generally I wear riding pants, thus the brightness. Like me and Y pretty much match today, it seems. Anyhow, since he too was sore, not bad, like he just needed a couple of days of rest just to make sure that we didn't overdo anything. Decided to kind of just hang out and play with him, worked on positive reinforcement because again, this was a big deal for him because again, he's been one of the trickiest horses about being caught or willing to come with you. So, and it's been really fun to see the change. So just playing a little bit of follow. Again, I can't move very quick, neither can he, but just playing on some stuff. So after we played a bit, I decided to take him back to the scene of the incident where he jumped out and to talk about fencing a little bit. In order to adopt a wild Mustang, you have to have 6-foot fencing. Now, I do have my pipe panels that are 6 foot for when I get a wild one in, and I have typically attach it near my stall, and then I'm able to work them. And once they're gentled, then you don't need to typically worry about the height of the fencing. It can go in normal fencing once again they're gentled. And so for the fencing I have here, I wanted to have 5 foot and not your typical, I believe the average is around 4'3". And it's not the first time I've had one of mine jump out. The joke is that my Mustangs choose to stay here because Win has jumped out as well as Rune. And typically just to get to the other side, really. No real reason. But I've been really happy with this fencing. I like the visibility of it. I like that my horses I can see them pretty well as well. And I have 5 strands. You can see why it's being a little silly here, which I am rewarding him a fair bit because he is staying with me. But I have 5 strands, and 3 of them are hot. And these paddocks are 100 by 100. So they're decent sized paddocks. And you can see here the top wire, which is clearly the one that gave. And it's held together by tension. So it's a thick cable wrapped in plastic. And I'm just really pleased with it because there's been minimal damage to both horse and the fence. And you can see here, kind of just looking over him, he's got a little residual filling on the, kind of weird. It was right above his knee and just like in his forearm. And then he had some where it looked like he had some grass stains and some scratches. So my guess is that he, in fact, didn't quite clear it and hung a leg and kind of flipped over it. Bless him. But as you can see, he's not worried about being around the fencing. He's not scared about it. So I'm really happy with this fencing and kind of how it worked when, it was kind of abused a little bit by this little guy. And I've had some kind of scary situations before with different types of fencing with wood and with the pipe panels. I've had horses get hurt pretty bad. So very happy that he pretty much came out unscathed. Again, just a little minor swelling that we just take it easy for a couple of days and play around in the big field. But he's starting to turn pretty spoiled. He likes to kind of play. I let him stay out in this big field again because now my competition horses are on nighttime turnout, and I like to have him out during the day just to be able to keep an eye on him so he doesn't get up to anything suspect. And so he's got ample shade. It's still pretty cool here, but leave it to my butterflies. Like my thoroughbreds don't like to be out. And he does a really good job of coming up for dinner time. He loves his stall. And so it's pretty fun to be able to see him out in the big field, and he sees me and he comes trotting up. And so this has been a bit of a longer journey for me and Y. He's had some physical problems. Like when I first got him, poor thing, he had the abscess in his foot, and then he's had to deal with the fractured tooth, and that's took a long time to kind of get that sorted out, and seems to be completely healed. We were a little concerned about the surgeons that they had nicked kind of his salivary gland and that it might cause some fistula, but knock on wood, it's been looking really, really good. And as you can see, he's pretty happy. You can see under his jaw right there, it looks really, really good. So Y and I are both going to get a little bit of rest. And for all of you wondering about Eton, he should be back in June. So make sure to stay tuned.